What's up, JEFusion fans? This is Philip, and welcome back to another video. So, I haven't actually done like character reviews or like talking about characters for quite a while already. So, I decided to do one on King Oger. In today's video, we are going to talk about Jeremy Brasieri, aka Kimonoslayer. So, before I begin, there might be some spoilers regarding his story. So if you haven't even caught up on the latest episodes yet, or if you haven't even watched King Oger yet, I really suggest that you do it now. So pause this video if you like. Go ahead and watch King Oger and catch up with the latest episodes, and then come back to this video once you're done. So now that said, let's move on with the video. Now, I have talked about the Kimonoslayer, aka Jeremy, before, but like it's more of like a hype video, like getting hype for the new character. And now we're actually going to talk about Jeremy as a character now that we've seen what he can do or what he is and his story and what's his deal within the show. So, an interesting aspect of Jeremy that I have mentioned before is that he is the first, probably, sixth ranger who actually has been with the, or has actually been featured in the show since episode 1, albeit you don't see him on camera, as he serves as the narrator of the show. And another interesting aspect is that during the credits, you don't really see the credits for the narration. So Masashi Ikeda's name isn't really seen in the intro until he was revealed, and of course, like you probably had like 2 or 3 episodes in before you actually saw his name and character. So yeah, uh, Jeremy has been our narrator apparently since the beginning of the show. And he also is different from the other King Ogres because technically he isn't a king. So he's the one who's not a king at all. And we we're kind of misled by Gira being not a king, but turns out that Gira's actually royalty. But we'll get to Gira at some point. So apparently, there were 6 heroes that fought against the Bagnarak 2,000 years before the show. So that's where Jeremy's story begins. So, what happened to the 6th hero who fought alongside the other heroes who eventually became kings of, the countries that uh, inhabit Chikyu or Terra, as English dubs would call it. Not dubs, but subs would call it. So Jeremy's father, although unnamed, apparently, so he was removed from historical records as he committed a taboo, that being falling in love with the enemy. So, yep, Jeremy is half Bagnarak. So that was actually hinted in one of his finishers, like Bagna Live. So there were actually speculations that Gira might join the Bagnarak side in order to become king. So that was immediately scrapped when Jeremy was revealed to be half Bagnarak. So it might be Jeremy who would become king of the Bagnarak. But he actually calls himself like the king of the gaps. So, like humans, Bagnarak, and everything in between, you might say. So, Jeremy wants to be that king in between. So, he is actually the self professed king because he doesn't even have a kingdom to begin with. However, so considering the events that have been happening within King Oger lately, especially with what Rackless has been doing. I'm not gonna talk about that much in detail regarding Rackless's activities. I don't want to spoil too much, but this is probably where Jeremy steps in. Basically, what he wants is peace between both humans and Bagnarak, considering he is half of both. So, of course, yeah, we see him fight the other King Ogres, but at the same time, he's also fighting the Bagnarak, who, well, you could say that he's fighting whoever is getting in the way of his grand scheme. So, of course, being a part of the, or being a descendant of the sixth hero who helped fight against the Bagnarak before, so he is able to work with the King Ogres as well. And another aspect that I forgot to mention about Jeremy is that he is 1,000 years old. So I'm not sure what really happened, because the war between the Bagnarak, right, uh, happened 2,000 years before the events of the main show. And then you have Jeremy, who's 1,000 years old. So having him 1,000 years old, like what's with that deal, basically? So that kind of confuses me a little bit, to be completely honest. But that's how he's written. He claims to be 1,000 years old. That's why he knows a lot of stuff about the stories of about the world, things that the King Ogres or the other King Ogres do not really know, because of what happened. Again, basically, his father and his story has been erased from records. That's why we only know about 5 countries and 5 kings that, again, were the original King Ogres during that time. So, as a fighter, as a Kimonoslayer, Jeremy fights using his, uh, short sword, rather, and he also has a gun. So, uh, he is the only King Ogre with a different type of weapon. Although, you could say Yamagast, aka Tombo Ogre, also uses a gun because, well, the king's weapon has a gun mode that almost exclusively, or actually exclusively, Yama uses. But uh, his as for Kumono Slayer's weapons are concerned, yeah, they are a completely different type of weapon. Although this kind of reminds me of Ryu Soldier's Ryuso Gold, who uses a shorter sword and a gun, albeit for Ryuso Gold, so he is actually kind of the opposite in this regard, as his gun serves as a transformation device, and then his short sword is kind of more like a side weapon. While as Kumono Slayer's shorter sword, or short sword, is the transformation device, and the gun is a side weapon. So, Kumono Slayer is able to control God Tarantula, and also the Guardian Centipede and the Guardian Cicada. So they serve as the weapons of uh, Tarantula Knight, which is, of course, Kumono Slayer's personal mecha. So his personal mecha is more of a Henkei type, because it's just technically one piece, and the centipede and cicada are weapons. So the cicada becomes an arm-mounted blade. You could say they're more like scissors, and the centipede becomes some sort of a chainsaw. And of course, well, as you would see later, Tarantula Knight is able to combine with King Ogre Mecha, and by also combining the other 3 legendary um, shoe gods, the Kabuto, Bata, and and Sasori, or yeah, the kabuto or rhinoceros beetle, the grasshopper, and scorpion shugod. So those three, and then the king ogre plus tarantula knight, so they form extreme king ogre. So yeah, I am really looking forward to what Jeremy can add to the story moving forward. So how he could probably become king. I do think like after the events of the story, defeating the Bagnarak that's causing havoc in Chikyu, and then Jeremy takes his place as king and starts a new royal bloodline, albeit his kingdom would be underground, so leading basically Bagnarak and maybe welcoming some humans who are willing to coexist with the Bagnarak. So I think that's gonna be his role. So yeah, I'm definitely seeing that kind of ending for Jeremy once the show actually ends. So, what do you guys think about Jeremy? So, leave it down in the comments. As always, thank you so much for watching. Please do leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, and don't forget that notification bell so you get the latest from JEFusion. This has been Philip, and I'll see you next time. Bye.